What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Garage Talk Sports. I'm Mills.
I'm Bobby.
And we are back in the garage. Nick is not here. As you can see, he is out vacationing in Cancun, enjoying nice weather and all-inclusive resort, whatever.
In Chicago, it got cold again.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a cold front that blew through. Really kind of sucks. Ruined my weekend. Yeah. But hey, is what it is. We got another episode coming at you guys. Episode number 94. So this episode... For full disclosure, it is going to be entirely NFL draft related, with exception to our hot spots.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to kind of just preview the draft, give us our takes on some certain things that we think might happen, or just kind of talk about the uncertainty of this year's draft because there's a lot surrounding it. But we'll get into all of that. We'll cover, some big blockbuster trades. One specifically that just happened today. Cough, cough, Aaron Rodgers. So we'll get into all that stuff as we go through the show. As always, we will talk about the Bears as we do every time we talk football. Yeah. So that will happen. Don't you worry, Bears fans. You'll hear from us. But otherwise, we'll go into our hot spots here like we always do at the beginning of every show. Bobby and I are both talking baseball. Speaking of baseball, I have the White Sox game on here in the garage muted, just watching it. They're losing, of course. Which brings me to my hot spot. And this is going to go a little unhinged. So for those of you
go for it, man.
Listening, I apologize for my language in advance.
We're on complete opposite ends, so go for it, man.
So I'm feeling where Bobby, I feel like I'm feeling where you felt at the start of last season for the Cubs. Except the difference is the Cubs were expected to be bad. The White Sox were expected to rebound from a bad year. But the reality is the White Sox are dog shit. And what else is new, really, when you're a Jerry Reinsdorf-owned organization, other than the fact that you're going to be mediocre, underperform when you have expectations. And when you have no expectations, you're going to somehow not meet those. White Sox are terrible. They have not won 2 consecutive games all season so far, the longest streak since 1942 in White Sox history. They have yet to win a series. They have an MLB worst 7.42 ERA out of the bullpen. Starting pitchers, not much better. Don't trust me. You don't want to know these numbers. Basically, the team is a joke. I don't know what other word to use to describe it other than pathetic. But that's an insult to the word pathetic to use it to describe this White Sox team. But then again, what can you expect when you go and hire the bench coach from the bottom-feeding Kansas City Royals? Because, they totally produce top talent in terms of baseball minds. They're just the White Sox. They suck ass. They are so bad. I hope Rick Hahn gets fired. I hope Jerry Reinsdorf either croaks and his family sells the team, or I hope he decides for once to do right by the fans and either let someone come in and spend money or sell the team. Because guess what, Jerry? You suck at what you do. Look at the Bulls. They suck too. They underperform when they have expectations. And all roads lead back to good old Jerry and his brain trust of idiots that he lets can run everything until it's too late. I'm gonna dial back. I'm getting
what's the record?
I believe they are 7-13, 7-14.
That's tough, man. That's bad.
They're not very good.
Yeah.
It is, I will say it's early in the season, so this could be an overreaction. Only time will tell, but I don't think it's an overreaction. I think that this White Sox team is going to win 75 to 80 games, and that's including if they get hot. Because as it stands, they need to get hot to have a chance at that. Because they are ass. They are piss poor, pathetic. They're terrible. I would rather be an Oakland A's fan right now than watch the White Sox and the shit they put on the field.
Hey, the A's are moving to Vegas, man.
Yeah, I at least there's that. I can't stand this White Sox team, dude. I cannot stand them. I've been over it. I've been pissed off since they hired Tony La Russa, and I was also very critical of Tony La Russa. And I want to be clear, I'm still critical of This doesn't absolve Tony La Russa of anything because he was a terrible hire at the time.
Oh yeah.
Your whole team's identity is based around change the game, right? That was their motto for 2 seasons. But what did they do? They hired the oldest active MLB manager to come in who enforced old school baseball traditions and unwritten rules and went against everything that they tried to say they were as a team identity.
Yeah.
The roster is not built well. That's not Tony La Russa's fault, but he sure as hell didn't help in terms of making them lazy. He let them he had no accountability for players not giving their best effort. And you know what happens when you just don't try to make guys better? You suck. And as the White Sox, when you believe you've won something because of your prospects that have yet to fully develop, you're fools. And you deserve to lose when you put all of your eggs into the basket of unproven talent developing into star players. That's what the White Sox did with their pitching specifically. And then other guys, Eloy Jimenez, who's going on 4 years since called up to the MLB and has just over 1 year of MLB service time because the dude's hamstrings don't hold up. Like, this is what happens. You go all in on these guys who haven't proven anything, and if it doesn't work out, you look stupid. You're caught with your pants down. And Rick Hahn should be fired for it. He won't be. He might get moved to like VP of baseball stadium operations or some bullshit like that, like Kenny Williams is right now. It's just more of the same. I don't know how I could have expected anything differently from a Jerry Reinsdorf run organization.
You okay, bud?
No, he's a piece of shit. I hate Jerry Reinsdorf.
No, I understand.
I'm not okay, Bobby, because, here's the deal. NFL season's not happening. I can't look forward to watching the Bears every Sunday, because at least watching the Bears when they were losing games, I knew they were building to something.
Yeah, they was
so
exciting.
I can watch that and I can find enjoyment in that. NHL seasons it's the playoffs now, and guess what? Blackhawks were once again a terrible team.
Well, yeah.
The Bulls, outside of their impressive play-in win over Toronto, which I will give credit to them for that, but they should have been a playoff team.
Shout out to Scotty. He told me to bet it.
Yeah.
I bet it, and they won. I won like $20 off it. Yeah.
But they should have been a playoff team, and they struggled. They underachieved. Who owns the Bulls? Same guy who owns the White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf.
Yeah.
But the point is, I have nothing to look forward to. If the White Sox are going to be this bad all season, it's going to be a long summer, because at some point NFL news dries up, and then it's just baseball season. And what do I have if the White Sox suck?
You want to come to the dark side?
No, because Bobby, I think the Cubs will eventually cool off as well.
I don't know, man. They've been riding the heater, dude.
Yes, they had. The Cubs, I will give them credit, but their roster's not built to be a sustained 162 game winning roster. It could happen, but their pitching specifically is the problem over there.
But their pitching has been overperforming.
Sure, everything regresses back to the mean, though.
It does, but
the White Sox are regressing back to the mean. They are actually never that great of a team.
Yeah, no.
But congrats on the Cubs winning.
Oh yeah, I've been
13 games or whatever they're at so far.
I think they're at 13-7. But I've just been enjoying it, man. Beat the Dodgers, take that series. Then we go to Oakland, sweep Oakland. I mean, that wasn't that hard.
Beating Oakland is.
And then we had to play the Dodgers at home. I think they took it. I don't know if they won yesterday. I didn't get to watch the game. I had to do some homework.
I don't remember.
But maybe we tied the series. But anyways, we put up 13 runs on the Dodgers. That was pretty sweet. That game was awesome. And it's fun. It's offensive baseball, and that's what I love to see. And it's what you're getting with the Cubs.
The nice thing about where you're at as a Cubs fan is right now, the Cubs are where the 2019, maybe 2018 White Sox were, where they're, they went and they brought up some pieces and they kind of established what their contending core is. And you're in the early stages of seeing them play together, right? So it's exciting. And the difference right now is if the Cubs fall apart and end up having a bad year, you got to see what the potential is as they continue to build their roster.
Yeah.
So it's easier to watch when a team has less expectations and you're watching them do well. It makes you more excited for what the future holds. So there's reasons to be excited about the Cubs regardless of how the entire season goes out. The White Sox, what is there to be excited about if they suck this year? Nothing. They have an ass farm system.
Rebuild.
I mean, they'll have to blow it up. I'm all for if they miss the playoffs this year, you blow it up. You have to.
Who's your untouchable?
Luis Robert, maybe? Dylan Cease? Actually, no. You know what? Fuck Luis Robert while I'm at it. That lazy piece of shit too.
I like Luis Robert.
I like Luis Robert as a player, but you know what? Pardon, I apologize for the language. And by the way, people, I feel very strongly. Here's my frustration with Luis Robert. He was, everything was, this is the Cuban Mike Trout. This is Mike Trout if he were from Cuba, right? That's what Luis Robert was pegged as. He was that 5-tool guy who has power, speed, fielding ability, all of it. And he has all of that. The problem is he does not live up to that potential. He is closer to being the center fielder version of Javier Baez than he ever will get to being Mike Trout.
Oh, fair count.
And by the way, White Sox just lost their 4th straight game. They suck ass, whatever. But the point, Luis Robert, that's where he's getting right now is, and the difference is Javier Baez. Well, actually, no, they're pretty comparable because Javier Baez had a couple years where he was a really strong shortstop.
Yeah.
He was solid at the plate, good defense. And Luis Robert has done that for about a year and a half when he's healthy. But it's the fact that he has no plate discipline. I've watched him for 2 straight games, not including this one because I didn't really get to watch this game. But for 2 straight games, he swung and missed at pitches that never even started in the zone. Sliders that never even started over the plate. They were already outside. He swings at them. I don't know what goes on up here. I think he's a guy who thinks he has all the talent and doesn't really need to act or improve on it. And guess what? You're hitting 220. Sure, you hit 5. You were hitting close to 300 and had 5 home runs when you were trying. And then I don't know what happened, dude. You went 0 for 4 in one game and suddenly you swing at everything. You don't care. He can go. Dylan Cease will have to go because, you need to get rid of if you're going to rebuild, you have to trade your best piece, which is Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
Right? So in terms of who are my untouchables, let's say Andrew Vaughn on the current roster, MLB roster. Andrew Vaughn's my only untouchable. And I'm going to say Colson Montgomery in my minor league system. Everyone else they're up for sale.
Wow.
Tim Anderson, he probably get you the most outside of Dylan Cease and Luis Robert. I would trade Tim Anderson. Honest to God, I would look at trading Tim Anderson this year already. He hasn't been healthy. I love Tim Anderson. He's super consistent, but if your team, you can see the roster's not built to win a lot of games and hold up for 162 games. So you need to go and get more. Tim Anderson will get you a lot, especially if you go after a team that's shortstop desperate, like the Dodgers. Dodgers are playing Mookie at shortstop right now because they have no one else.
Yeah.
Everyone is available except for Andrew Vaughn and Colson Montgomery. I would be willing to shop everyone. I would be on the phone trying to move on from Eloy and just get him off that roster. I would try and get Yohan Moncada, who I love, but I'm done on him as well. But I think you're stuck with him because he's just so. I don't know a team that's willing to trade for him and take on his contract because they have him for another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
everyone's got to go. Lance Lynn, you're stuck with him because you paid a 34-year-old aging starting pitcher who showed that he's done. You paid him a 5-year contract extension. That's beautiful, Rick Hahn. Really well done. Let's clap it up for your dumbass and your terrible contract decisions.
Don't forget about Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah, that was what I'm over the Dallas Keuchel one because it worked for a year and you know what? It is what it is. You picked up Dallas Keuchel was signed to hold down the bottom of your rotation, which he did that. And my expectations are low when someone's brought in to be a 5th starter. It sucks that they committed to him over Carlos Rodon last season. That's the problem. Lance Lynn. What is there to say about Lance Lynn other than the fact that you signed him to be your 2nd best pitcher? And he's worse. He's maybe your 4th best, and that's just about how bad everyone else is.
True.
And so I cannot fathom the White Sox this year. Whatever, everyone's available. I'd sell them all.
Sorry to hear, man. Yeah,
I would trade everyone. Sorry, Bobby. I took over the hot spot there.
No, it's okay. I feel bad. But Hap, Seiya, Nico, Dansby, all signed for the next 3 years. So we're good, man.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
I'm not going to say I was surprised by a Ian Happ extension, but I guess I thought that he might be a trade, like available at the trade deadline.
But
If the Cubs were like looking to stock up on more like soon to be ready prospects,
Yeah.
I thought they would maybe consider, because I think Happ, outside of Dansby Swanson, who you're not trading him, you just sign him to a huge contract. Happ to me made the most sense of like, who's a guy we can afford to part ways with and get a decent amount in return for. I figured that would be Happ. But if they feel like they're a lot closer than they may have initially thought when they gave that 2027 estimate or whatever,
I think they definitely are. I mean, really,
the thing that's going to be difficult if Cody Bellinger keeps up his play all season long, I do not think he's on the Cubs next year.
I don't think so. But if I don't know if he could keep it up.
If Cody Bellinger is back and like I said, he keeps it up, I would almost guarantee he's not on the Cubs next year.
Yeah, but
catch him in. Why don't we just throw out the Yankees because they sign everyone?
Yeah, they probably will. Because he's definitely not going back to the Dodgers after they.
No, he's not going back to the Dodgers. I don't think the Cubs will pay him what kind of contract he would get if he like I said, all contingent on him returning to his MVP form.
Yeah, if he doesn't, I think the Cubs can retain him. I think he'll want to stay with that team.
Yeah, I could see that working out, but it all depends on what his season shapes out to be.
Yeah, I kind of hope he stays. Really, it's just starting pitching's been good. It's just bullpen, that would be my only complaint and the only knock. You kind of just need to get.
And bullpens are so shoddy. Like,
yeah, it's like no one has.
There's very limited consistency in bullpens. Like, you can have a guy who's a stud one year, and then the next year he's not good.
Well, Craig Kimbrell.
Yeah, Craig Kimbrell fell off an absolute cliff.
Just goes to the Sox.
The second the Sox traded for him. Yeah. And there must be a curse there because Nick Madrigal has been terrible since that trade.
Nick Madrigal's been playing good. Like, as like a...
He's a platoon guy.
Yeah, as a platoon guy, he's great. Like, he is probably your best guy where you need to fill in to play third, play second, play shortstop.
I don't think Nick Madrigal is part of the long-term plans for the Cubs.
No, he definitely isn't. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. As your guy who's coming in to start, like, as the Luis Garcias of the White Sox, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Nick Madrigal has not turned into what people thought he was going to be when he was drafted.
Yeah.
That is what it is. He's not on the White Sox, so I guess I don't care anymore. But
also, I got the Cubs Field of Dreams jersey. Sick.
Oh, is it cool?
So sick.
I haven't seen it.
I'll show you a picture of it.
For sure.
Yeah, I got Marcus Stroman because Stroman or Happ was my only options, and I like.
Yeah, they only really make those in certain players' number or like available to them. But that's whatever. Those are our hot spots. Before we continue down that path, because it's clear I could talk and rant about the White Sox forever.
Down bad.
I'm down bad right now.
You need Friday.
Yeah. Shut up. That's an inside joke, people. No, but so let's get into the rest of the episode. Like I said, it's all draft talk from here. This upcoming Thursday, we have the NFL draft is going to be happening, and we will unfortunately not be going live this year. Schedules just did not allow for it.
Yeah.
I guess Bobby and Nick could go live, but I won't be there.
We'll talk to him. He'll just be back from Mexico.
Nick will just be getting back from Cancun. So we're probably not going to be able to go live. That is what it is, but we'll still be sure to report on the draft episode or on the draft after it happens. We're going to get back on all of that stuff, but let's get into the rest of the NFL talk. So before we go, well, this is draft related.
So breaking news.
Dun-dun-dun. I didn't want to do the Sports Center thing.
We have been waiting for months.
Aaron Rodgers has finally been traded to the Jets. It's been a long time since we heard about what's it called? Since he went on the Pat McAfee show and it's like, yes, I'm going to play for the Jets. And then, every week we're hearing about how, they're way apart. Finally, it happened. Aaron Rodgers has been traded to the Jets. the Packers. Bobby, why don't you give us the haul?
So Packers are getting the 13th from the Jets. Then they're getting the 42nd and 207th. And then they are getting a 2024 conditional second if you play 65%
of their games in 2023.
Yeah. Then
that becomes a first round pick. I would have made that conditional on if they make the playoffs.
I think I would have too, but
that would have. But I guess your logic is if he's healthy and plays, you'll make the playoffs. If you're the Jets. So. But so let's talk about that haul a little bit, because this is something that I don't remember if we talked about it on the show, but I know we've had conversations, when we're not recording.
Yeah.
What was the market for Aaron Rodgers? I feel like the market realistically was probably second round pick and the conditional second round pick. I was of the belief and still believe that the best offer, the Jets probably didn't want to give up 13 unless they were getting 15. So I don't think a first round pick was even in the conversation outside of the conditional one. I don't think that was ever in the conversation unless the Packers were willing to give up theirs. Because I think Green Bay wanted to try and snag 2 first round picks.
But if this was last year, you would have definitely got it. Last year was the time to sell on Aaron Rodgers.
You didn't.
You didn't. So
here you are.
Like, this is the way it is. You played you played the market, and this is the best offer you're going to get.
This was a weird trade to begin with, because there's really no telling who had the leverage. I felt that the Jets had more leverage than the Packers.
Yeah, because
others felt the Packers had more leverage than the Jets. Because it's kind of like, well, we've got the guy who can get you to the playoffs. How badly do you want to go to the playoffs? Yeah, and the Jets like, well, you're stuck with the guy who doesn't want to be there. Yeah, sold all you. We signed the pieces he wanted you to keep.
It's like, if you keep him because you're not getting exactly what you want for him, like, he's not going to play for you. And you're going to be stuck with $50 million.
It was very much I dare you. I dare you to hold him, and I dare you guys to try and lowball us. And you know what? I think all in all, it's a relatively fair trade.
It was a game of chicken. It was
a game of chicken. They were just
staring each other down.
Yeah. I think it was a relatively fair trade. I will say I do think the Jets gave up a little more than they needed to.
Yeah, but also,
like,
if you're getting last year, 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers, when he won MVP,
that's different, but you're not.
Then you know what? I think it's fair that this trade works out for you. It's okay that you overpaid a little bit, but I mean, if you're getting last year Aaron Rodgers, yeah, you definitely overpaid.
Yeah, I don't. I don't particularly think it's a terrible trade for the Jets. Like, no, I'm not saying the Jets got fleeced. I'm saying that they probably gave up more. They gave up more than I would have if I was the GM.
Yeah,
like I would have played that. I would have played chicken a lot longer. But because you were able to swap your first round picks, the Jets are going to they get to walk away feeling a little more confident in the trade.
And you only drop back 2. So
you drop back 2, so it's very little change in value. I mean, you're probably still going to get your pick at one of your couple guys on your board. So you're not really losing a ton there. I just feel like if you swapped firsts, gave up a second and another pick in this draft, even though it's a late one, I don't think you needed to go conditional on that other second round pick. But you went conditional on it. That's fine. I just think you kind of went a little overboard. But if you believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to play for you for more than one season, sure, it's worth it then. Go for it.
I think so. I think
because that was another one of the big things is, every year he flirts with retirement. So what's he going to do?
I don't think so. I think you get a good team around him. He has Nathaniel Hackett as the OC.
Yeah, you'll feel like he's in an organization that wants to give him the tools.
You signed all the people he wanted you to bring in. Like, you pretty much are telling him, this is your team. We built this for you. Like,
so that'll hopefully make him stick around more.
I think so. And you know what? I think he wants to win another Super Bowl and prove that he's better than Favre. I mean, he's on the same exact career course.
Catch him in Minnesota next. If he catch him in Minnesota.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
That would be.
That would just be insane.
Yeah, so that changes that sets up everything. How funny would it be if Green Bay drafts a wide receiver now?
Dude, I think they will, honestly.
They probably will.
I mean, realistically,
13, who do you take?
Dude, there could be no receivers could be off the board at that point.
Oh yeah, this is a weak wide receiver draft.
Yeah, so I think you could take.
You could sit till 42nd and still get someone good.
Yeah, you could have Jackson Smith and Najigba like at 13 if you really wanted.
Yeah, you
which
could
realistically, that's who I would think they would would want that pick for, because you know what I mean. Like
Jordan Love needs pieces. You lost Robert Tonyan to the Bears. What's his face? Lazard went to the Jets. Mercedes Lewis left.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's old. So, I mean, how big of a role was he going to play with Jordan Love
he's a
anyways?
good blocker, though.
No, I know. He's unreliable.
Yeah,
you know?
he is.
But we'll kind of see as the draft approaches. We're a few days away.
Thank God, man.
Yeah, he's
as
gone.
a Bears fan, dude.
Thank God.
Look, like, let's be honest. I hate Aaron Rodgers. He's the
I can't stand him.
Epitome of what I hate. But
he's very good.
Yeah, he's good.
When he's on, he's on.
Yeah, dude, he's good. And you know what? He's owned the Bears for so long. It's just nice not to know that we don't have a plan in place.
Yeah, now it's nice. You know, that's not 2 guaranteed L's on the season.
Exactly. Like, because you know what? For Packers fans, it's done. You're not gonna hit 3 times in a row. Like,
watch your mouth. Don't you jinx that.
Hit 3 times.
Don't
in a
you
row.
jinx that. Knock on some wood. Knock on wood.
We're knocking on wood.
You don't know that,
dude. There is no way. If you hit 3 times in a row and the Bears couldn't get it right for how long?
Sid Luckman. Sid Luckman.
Sid Luckman. Well, Jim McMahon.
No, not Jim McMahon won a Super Bowl with
he
the
got
Bears.
us a Super Bowl.
That
counts. That counts.
I would like to have the 15 plus years with the Super Bowl to go along with
Super
it.
Bowl counts.
Yes, sure, but
okay.
Jim McMahon played a handful of seasons after that. Jim McMahon was the last Pro Bowler until Mitch Trubisky at the quarterback.
And he was the last good quarterback out of BYU. Because Zach Wilson, you suck.
Zach Wilson,
just got
your time's
job
done.
done.
You're done. Job taken from a dude who dates a stinky not shower girl.
Yeah, true.
Ew. Dude went and lived in a hobbit hole and showered after every dump he took.
Yeah,
and he took your job, bro.
He was showering after every poop.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't wipe his own butt.
Dude lived in darkness for what, a week, 2 weeks?
4 days.
Oh, I thought it was way longer.
But that's a lot.
That's a lot, actually.
Complete silence.
Complete darkness and silence. He's insane.
How did he not go insane?
Who knows, man?
Probably
I think he already is insane.
From his what was it?
What?
From what he smoked.
Oh, Iowa when he drank ayahuasca.
Oh yeah, drank ayahuasca. Yeah, probably still seeing demons on it.
Yeah, I hate that man. I hate him, but he's so good.
But you know what? Thank you for leaving the NFC.
Good
North.
riddance.
Good riddance. Us Bears fans.
I hope you don't suck in New York, but it would actually that's not true. I hope your career is kind of on the tail end. But I'm not going to hate you as much now that you're gone. Jordan Love, congrats on getting your opportunity. I really hope you're terrible.
Now I just have to say it. Despite all the Detroit Lions players getting suspended for gambling, like what the fuck?
I forgot.
Calvin Ridley just got suspended for a whole year, and you idiots are over here gambling. Like I get it, fine, it's not on it, but it's not permitted. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it, man.
Oh my
Something
God.
about being told you can't really makes people want to do it.
Well, I mean, yeah. Despite that, I think it's really the Detroit Lions division to lose now.
Yeah. Well. I don't know,
dude.
Vikings. If the Vikings
defense got worse,
if they can make something happen on the defensive side of the ball, they're the best offense in the division.
But Eric Kendricks.
Yeah, I hear you. They're the best offense in the division. All they need is a defense that gives up less than 24 points a game.
I don't see that happening.
But if they can get that, it's their division. I think they're still a step above. If they can get their defense to be average to slightly below average, I think they're better than the Lions.
But see, my thing is the Lions signed pieces they need. They really need a cornerback.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
So I think that they're going to be good. But
I'm not saying they're going to be bad.
Despite their players gambling and getting suspended.
I look at it I mean, the Vikings still had a really good year last year with a terrible defense. And a lot of those guys were young pieces who can hopefully take the next step in development. I think it's the Vikings division to lose, to be honest with you. I think Detroit, they're going to challenge them for it, but I really still believe that it's the Vikings to lose.
Fair enough. But I'm going Lions.
Captain Kirk. Oh, Captain, my captain.
I mean, this is last year, man.
Yeah, and he'll probably be back.
I don't know. I don't think so.
You cannot, unless Like, I mean, I guess you could move on from Kirk Cousins, but he really has not done you any wrong as the quarterback.
Except for when it's 4th and like 10, you throw it like 4 yards down the field.
That is what it is. Kirk Cousins has led them on.
Just
He's taken them to the playoffs more years than he's missed the playoffs with them, and he's led them on 11 game-winning drives last year, Bobby.
I'm just giving you shit, man.
I know.
Shit.
There's too much on paper that says you kind of have to stick with Kirk Cousins. There's too much on paper.
It's true.
You can look at that 1 4th down play. Oh, well, we ignore the fact that not a single receiver on that play even ran to the first down marker.
Yeah,
that's something that gets over. Everyone blames Kirk Cousins for the throw, but there wasn't a single route that went to the first down marker. They ran 5-yard outs on a 4th and 8, and we're like, maybe TJ Hawkinson will break 3 tackles for a first down.
No, that's not.
It was a bad play call,
Yeah.
and Kirk Cousins has to throw the ball. I mean, you got to hope something happens. Is what it is. I'm not getting into that. Let's get into the draft, though.
Yes.
Like I said, it's coming up this Thursday, and last year's draft was pretty eventful.
Yeah, it was.
Is the best word to use there. A lot of unpredictable moves there.
A lot of trades.
Yeah. We've already seen some happen prior to this draft, but foreshadowing everything with this draft, something that seems to be the general consensus is that, no one really knows what teams are going to do in this draft.
No.
Usually at this point, you kind of have a feeling what the first couple picks are going to be. Well, what teams that are like looking to move up are like they've already moved up, or you already know they're in on moving up. And we don't really have that kind of certainty this year. The only certainty I have, I'm pretty sure Bryce Young is going first overall. That seems to be a lock. Outside of that, though, it's wide open.
It is, because if that happens, I don't think Houston's taking Stroud.
No, I mean, from what I've seen and what I've heard, CJ Stroud has too close of a relationship and connection with Deshaun Watson to where Houston doesn't want to even get involved in that, which can suck because you're going to miss out on what could be the second best quarterback in the draft.
Sure.
But I also totally get it if you're Houston. I mean, we're talking about a dude who listed as his quarterback role models, Deshaun Watson and Michael Vick, Michael Vick did his time.
Yeah, Michael Vick is totally acceptable.
I mean, character issues at some point, yes, but Michael Vick's a changed man.
He did. And what he did in Philly,
we're pro Michael Vick in this garage. I want to be clear on that.
He made amends for what he did.
Yeah. He didn't just pay off 20-something dogs and say, "Hey, I'm sorry for abusing you," and then sign one of the most ridiculous contracts in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. No. He served his time. Yeah. Whereas serial predator.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson didn't.
He didn't.
He just threw some money.
Well, I mean, he got suspended for 11 games.
Yeah, and then but the legal issue wise,
yeah,
homeboy just paid a bunch of money. He was like,
and Calvin Ridley,
catch me in week 12, bro.
And Calvin Ridley, who did a completely legal thing,
yeah,
whole year. Just want to throw that out there. But I think you might see Stroud slide a lot because this S2 test, which is basically it's like your cognitive ability. Dude, just hear these stats. So all the quarterback scores came out. Bryce Young first, of course, got 98% on it. Jake Hayner got 96%. Will Levis 93%. Jaron Hall 93%. Clayton Tune 84%. Anthony Richardson 79%. Hendon Hooker 46%. That's pretty bad. CJ Stroud 18%.
That's comically low.
That is comically low. I'm pretty sure if you just put all A's, you're probably going to get more than 18%.
That is comically low.
That is.
Do we know how tough this test is, by the way?
I mean, judging that Bryce Young got a 98%, I mean, unless he's like
what's it called? The S2 test?
S2. Yeah, it's like the cognitive, basically it's like your
S2 cognition test. All right. Sorry, guys. Had a little technical issue there with our mics. But we should be good and back going here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Do we know when that cut out?
Yeah, like right as we were looking up the S2.
Okay, so it's right at the S2 test.
So,
Sorry about that, guys. We
Yeah.
had a little bit of a tech issue. No big deal,
Weird.
but we're
I don't
back
know.
here.
Never happened before.
That is a comically low score.
Like terribly.
Because that's an
low.
IQ test is all it is. I'm going to look up, is the S2 test hard?
Well, yeah, if you're dumb. I mean, I don't think he's like that dumb or anything. I just think he didn't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But either way, bad look. Very bad look.
yeah, that's not ideal. Everything I'm seeing is that it's not exactly hard, but
You have to try.
yeah, it's a cognition test. So, it's just like, how good are you at paying attention to detail?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So 18 is pretty bad because it would imply that you don't like notice anything. Like you do not pick up on any details.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what that would imply. Anthony Richardson at 40, or no, he was 79. Hendon Hooker was 46.
Hendon Hooker was 40.
That's pretty bad too.
That is pretty bad.
Yeah,
but it's not 18 bad though.
It's not,
you know what? I mean,
no, it's not, Bobby. It's almost three. It's more than twice as good.
That's a lot better. Yeah. It's just
it's 3.5 times as good as his, but or 2.5. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
that's brutal. That's a brutal score. That could tank him for sure. And I feel bad, but at the same time,
he played himself out of that.
He played himself. I mean, if that causes you to fall, that causes you to fall. That's stuff that they look at. You have to be better prepared for stuff. Like you had to know you're going to have to take something like that. But it is what it is. He scored low and he's dropping. He was what I thought was like the consensus second overall pick after Bryce Young.
Yeah.
But then everything started to come out before the S2 test, stuff about his connection with Deshaun Watson. I totally get that Houston doesn't want to get involved in that.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't blame them for that. It sucks, but you have to I mean, if you're a Houston fan, you probably wouldn't want to get involved with someone who's close with Deshaun Watson and is represented by the same people. That relationship's not going to work out.
Yeah.
At all. Like, it's just not going to play out very well for you.
It's like,
so that brings more uncertainty now to the rest of the draft, right? So, I mean, here are the quarterback needy teams that we don't know what they're going to do. Houston, we just mentioned. Indianapolis, Vegas is semi there.
Yeah.
And then the big stuff coming out now is Tennessee. We'll hold off on Tennessee because I have some thoughts I want to share there. Okay. Let's go to Houston.
Houston.
If you're not taking Stroud, are you taking Richardson then?
No, you're not. You're gonna take Will Anderson Jr.
Yeah, you're gonna take the best. You're now gonna go best player on the board. Yeah. That's not a quarterback. These guys would be theoretically better than Will Anderson Jr. is graded higher as a prospect than CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
The difference is CJ Stroud's a quarterback and you need a quarterback. That's why you would take him.
Exactly.
But you'll probably go Will Anderson Jr. now.
I'm going to tell you about one person.
Go for it.
2024. Caleb Williams.
That's true.
Houston
could be in play. If they commit to the tank like they were trying to this year.
You are going to get the best quarterback of a generation.
Yeah.
All right?
Houston is in position to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes next offseason. So I think they're probably comfortable holding off and waiting. So let's go now to the next team on the board that's quarterback in a quarterback needing situation, Indianapolis.
Yes.
They're sitting there at, remind me, 4th, right?
Yes,
fourth overall. I mean, theoretically, they'll have their pick of everyone that's not Bryce Young.
Yeah, but
if CJ Stroud scores so low and you're not sold on him,
exactly,
do you take him?
And you were really high on Will Levis.
Will Levis is a guy that they've been into. I can see them taking Will Levis at 4 overall.
Or you go pure raw talent, Anthony Richardson.
Yes,
that would.
But you have to decide: are we going project quarterback? Well, actually, I don't think either of them are particularly NFL ready.
No, I don't. Two. So really,
it's kind of who do you grade out as? You have to kind of weigh it against who do you think is more present day, ready to go now versus whose ceiling is higher. Where do you want to do you want a project quarterback who will take more time to reach a high ceiling, or a guy who will reach his ceiling faster, but it's not as high as the other one? That's where you're at if you're Indianapolis. If I had to guess, I think they're going to take Will Levis. I think they're just.
Don't get me wrong. I think CJ Stroud is way better than
both of them. But there's now concerns. You know,
there is and
whether it's justified or not. 18%, I kind of get it, but the stuff about his relation being represented by the same people that represent Deshaun Watson, you know, I don't want to go too in on that stuff. I'm not saying he condones what Deshaun Watson did, but it's an ugly connection to have that people are going to look at it. You know, that's just how that goes.
I do like CJ Stroud. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. I mean, a team can get a very good value if he falls far enough back, but Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, I think they're going to go Will Levis. I don't know. It just seems like a Colts move. They seem to be in on like the more traditional style quarterback, less mobile. They seem to want like a very cookie cutter quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's theoretically what Will Levis will be.
Yeah. I think so.
I would personally be more inclined to go Anthony Richardson.
Oh, I definitely would.
I think,
man, got talent.
I think there's so much more potential there. But the Colts just strike me as a team that is going to screw it up and take the wrong guy.
No, I agree.
So that's but they're going to go. I think they'll still go quarterback. It'll just be one of those two. So then we go to Vegas at 7. Well, Vegas has said allegedly that they're out on quarterbacks.
But Stroud's there.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I was going to say. In this scenario, if everything works out this way, you could have CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson available. Right, if we're saying Will Levis is drafted,
or hear me out here, trade
for
you let like the Titans trade up.
To
7, and you get a haul.
Yeah, or if you're really gonna go Jimmy G, which I respect it, no issue there.
Yeah,
you may not think that either of these guys that are going to be left are you may not think highly enough to take them at 7. So you go, okay, well, we know a team that there's other teams that need quarterbacks. 2 higher end quarterbacks are available. One who really could have been a second overall pick.
Yeah.
Like CJ Stroud could end up being a Justin Fields level fallback.
That's what I'm thinking.
So you can capitalize on that and trade back. I think they have a lot more to think about if CJ Stroud is at 7.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. If in this scenario, 2 guys are at 7. And you have to think, well, we kind of didn't expect any of them to be here.
Yeah,
so 2 quarterbacks fell to us. Now do we go quarterback, get our guy? Jimmy G's only on a short-term deal. Let's get Anthony Richardson. He's more of a project. He needs more time to develop. This is perfect. Jimmy G, there's been a history now. If you go, quarterbacks have done well filling in for Jimmy G after like he's been the starter.
Yeah.
Cough, cough, Brock Purdy.
True. But not as much as Trey Lance.
No, Trey Lance was a bum. But that's stuff to think about.
And there's trade rumors there.
Yeah, there's trade rumors for Trey Lance. My buddy Cole, who's a big 49ers fan, he believes that the 49ers are going to be Brock rocking the rest of the going forward. Like they're ready to move on from Trey Lance.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like, well, I mean, you got to remember Trey Lance really didn't earn a starting job. I think he got it going into the start of last season because of where they drafted him.
Yeah.
And now, because he went out with injury, Jimmy G came in, looked pretty solid, looked better when he came in.
Yeah.
The offense looked better. Brock Purdy came in. We obviously saw what happened there. Assuming Brock Purdy is able to be healthy at the start of the season, yeah, I mean, you can't. I believe in the concept of you cannot replace a guy unless he gives you a reason to. Yep. Brock Purdy gives you no reason to replace him.
No.
He went undefeated with you. Or you went undefeated with him at quarterback. The offense looked really well. Yes, there's stuff he could have done better, but he was also the last player taken.
Yeah,
a rookie. There are first-round rookies that have things that they need to get better at. This idea that the only way Brock Purdy should be the starter is if he was like flawless makes no sense because Trey Lance was far from flawless. Most quarterbacks aren't flawless ever.
No.
So I think that there's legit. Sorry, I have the hiccups from this Baja Blast.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I think there's legitimate that rumor's legitimate.
No, I think so as well.
I would trade Trey Lance before the league finds out that Trey Lance is a bust. You need to trade him.
Well, I don't think you're not getting a return on investment there.
No, you're not. But you need. I think his value is like just falling fast.
It's plummeting
because teams saw him in his limited time and were like, maybe the dude who's thrown like 400 passes between high school and college probably isn't an NFL ready quarterback yet. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like you need to throw the ball more times to be an NFL ready quarterback, and you played at a lower level of college.
Yeah, exactly. With 19
I believe those rumors. But let's talk Titans, and then we'll kind of get into Bears stuff, and then our draft crush to wrap up. Right. So the Titans, we all know they're kind of in a weird spot. Ever since the A.J. Brown trade, the Titans organization has kind of been reeling, I think.
Yeah.
Because that was a move made by a GM who ended up getting fired, and it was very clearly a move that the organization was not on board with.
No, they were not.
Because it became very apparent quick. You saw the reaction of Mike Vrabel when it happened on draft day. He was stunned. I imagine that's how the feeling was throughout the rest of the organization. And you fired the GM because it didn't work. You have your quarterback room is Ryan Tannehill, who had some injury issues last year, and Malik Willis, who I believe is no better than a second string quarterback, and you could probably find better second string quarterbacks than him.
Yeah. What's his name? Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, definitely. He looked better.
Yeah, he did.
He looked better, and he's been all over the place.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? Ryan Tannehill, he's like a poor man's Kirk Cousins, in my opinion.
And he can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy anymore. He's not winning you games with his arms. When I say poor man's Kirk Cousins is better. Kirk Cousins wins you games. Ryan Tannehill, you just don't want him to lose you games.
Yeah.
That's the difference there.
And you can't be just relying so much on Derrick Henry.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, who is also a guy that they're shopping around.
Which is insane. But
this is where they're at as an organization. They're not in a great cap space. They don't have enough offensive weapons.
No,
think about it. Their first round rookie last year, the wide receiver. What was his name? I forget his name.
Treylon Burks.
Yeah, Treylon Burks. He's your top wide receiver option next to Robert Woods.
Yeah,
that's not a great 1-2 punch.
Robert Woods went to Texans.
My point exactly.
Yeah, he's gone.
But those were your two guys last season. Ryan Tannehill's not a good enough quarterback to win with weak talent. Malik Willis is not an NFL quarterback. He is a backup who, at best, is a second string quarterback. I don't mean to harp on him, but I never saw it. I didn't believe the hype coming out of college. I'm not buying it until I see it on the field. I think Malik Willis's value is very low.
Yeah.
The only thing you could try and get from him,
I mean, it was worth the shot as
a fourth round pick, sure, or third round pick, wherever he was taken, sure, it's worth a shot. Problem is, it's not the pick. He's not the guy, and I would be looking to try and shop him before his value is non-existent as well.
Yeah.
They're a trade up candidate for sure. If they're sold on moving on from Tannehill, he's a trade up. Then they're a trade up candidate.
You need a quarterback.
You need a quarterback, but you need a lot more. Their defense is in good shape.
Their defense is pretty good.
But you need another wide receiver. I don't remember. Did they re-sign Austin Hooper? I feel like they didn't, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah,
but you just have a lot to address on that team, and you have big contracts. Ryan Tannehill's contract is massive. I think he is still on the Titans.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's good. I mean,
but you have a lot that you have to address on offense, and you have to move on from these really. Oh no, he signed with the Raiders.
Oh, okay.
You need to move on from these big contracts. I'm sorry, Derrick Henry last year we saw he has fallen back. I think the workload that has been put on him for the last several seasons is catching up.
I don't think it's that. I just think with Malik Willis, they were so limited. They could not pass the ball. They relied solely upon Derrick Henry as their whole entire offense.
But the problem is you need to get more. Yeah. And you have too many. You have a massive Tannehill contract, and you have a pretty big contract on Derrick Henry. I think the Titans are in a bit of a reset mode here.
Yeah, they might.
Where they're probably going to have to dump Derrick Henry.
I would love for the Bears to get Derrick Henry, man.
No, I'm fine with the Bears running back room as it is.
No, I love Derrick Henry.
But they have a lot. The Titans, they have a lot to address, but they're not in like a full rebuild. You have to get one of those contracts out of there. And if you get one of them out of there, you don't have the wide receiver room for a rookie quarterback. That's the problem. You don't have a very good like passing structure to help a rookie develop. So you're going to be more of the same with just give the ball to Derrick Henry and hope you can get your quarterback to break on some big plays because everyone's expecting a run. It's not a great recipe there.
Yeah, I get it, but like I said, if Stroud's there, you need a quarterback.
Yeah, no, they're a trade-up candidate.
I definitely think they would trade up.
It's something that they have to consider. They just have to also remember they don't have much wide receiver help.
They don't. That's true.
And that's the big one there. But we'll see what happens this Thursday. Last thing to talk about here, Bears. We are going to cover the Bears, and we probably won't go too long-winded with it. But so basically, what would we do if we're the Bears? Bears already traded first overall pick to Carolina. They got the 9th overall pick. DJ Moore, second round pick this year, first round pick next year, and a second round pick the year after that. Correct?
Yes.
Am I missing any picks on that?
No, here, 100%.
It's a pretty good recap.
That is a good recap.
So 9th overall, Bears, we know they have a ton of holes on their roster. What I would do if I'm the Bears, I'm going to give two answers because there's what I believe, what I would do, and what I would do based on some of the reports we're seeing.
Okay.
What I would do is I would stay at 9th overall. I would take, if Jalen Carter falls to 9, I take Jalen Carter. If he's not there, I take Peter Skoronski, or what's his name? Paris Johnson Jr. Paris Johnson Jr. If whichever one of those is available there.
Which they probably will be.
If they're both available, I like Skoronski more.
Yes.
I just like Northwestern linemen.
For
Big
sure.
Ten linemen in general are safe bets in my opinion.
Also, you got to think about it. The same knocks that he has is the same knocks Rashawn Slater had.
Right.
And Rashawn Slater was the best tackle in that class. And he got hit on the most because of his short arms and his head.
Yeah. But that's what I would do. Now, going based more on reports, because we're seeing that the Bears were really liking Darnell Wright from Tennessee, who's a right tackle, mind you.
Yeah.
If those reports are true, and I'm in the Bears, and Darnell Wright's the guy we want, we believe Braxton Jones is our left tackle of the future, which there's potential there. I'm not going to say there isn't. All rookie. Made the all rookie team. He had a good year. So I understand, I get not wanting to, that's not necessarily, left tackle's not necessarily something you have to address. So if you're liking Darnell Wright as your pick, you don't need to take him at 9. You can trade back further in the draft. He'll be there in the second half. I think he would be closer to the 20s.
Yeah.
But there's teams that want to move up. There's reports that Pittsburgh wants to move up and trade with the Bears. So I would be willing to trade back. Pittsburgh's at 17. We'll swap with you. We want that second round pick that we gave you for Claypool back, and maybe like a 4th round pick next year. I think you can get 2 to 3 picks. You'll swap firsts, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I think you can get that second round pick.
Which I like it.
And even if that's all you get, I'm cool with that. And then Darnell Wright will probably be there at 17.
Yeah.
And I would be comfortable taking him there. He's going to be a right tackle. Right tackle's locked down. Left tackle's locked down. We're pretty set at guard. All we really need is a center, but I still believe Cody Whitehair will move back to center. Actually, they said they are moving him back to center, I believe. So he'll be back at center. Your O-line should be pretty short up at that point. Those are my 2 things I would do.
Yeah, I think your offensive line's solid. And no, I like that. I like that move. If they do end up trading back, I'm
cool with it.
I'm cool with it. I would really like Peter Skoronski. But that's just personal preference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think the move here, unless Jalen Carter's still on the board, is you go get your top offensive line talent. Because the way it's looking right now is that if you take an edge, they're good. Like there's a deep class. Don't get me wrong. It's just you're not getting Will Anderson Jr. You're not you're gonna get a top talent.
At this, you can still address a big need at 9 overall here.
Yeah, and you could get the top player in the draft.
And it's a very deep edge draft to begin with. There'll be, I really do believe the Bears are going to go offensive line in the first round, and then almost exclusively defense the rest of the draft. Yeah. Maybe, you take every year you take a late round wide receiver or something.
Yeah, of course.
They'll do that, but they're going to go almost every other higher pick in the draft is going to be defense. That's my prediction. You're going to go O-line, then the next few rounds, and you're going defense. No, that's how I see it for them.
I think that's a pretty safe bet because we need so much help.
They need more hole. They have too many holes that they can fill in just one round.
Yeah, and
so get your O-line locked up because that needs less pieces to be fixed.
Yeah.
So get that taken care of. Get your impact guy in the first round. Go defense the rest of the way. That's my prediction for the Bears. And that's how I would do it personally as well. But moving on here, let's go kind of wrap up the episode with our draft crush. We do this every year as well. I'll let you go first, Bob. I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to hand it over to you here.
Mine's Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver out of Tennessee, and he's been solid. Honestly, I've always been a fan of Jordan Addison. I thought Jordan Addison was a top wide receiver, but dude, he's really fast. He catches the ball over the top, burns people. I've been really liking Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah.
And he's in the SEC. He goes up against good talent.
Yeah, on defense. He goes against good secondaries. Yeah. I like Jalen Hyatt as well.
And
I was liking the Bears possibly drafting him before they got DJ Moore.
Yeah.
So
if the Bears still decided to go Jalen Hyatt, I'll be all for it, obviously, because I'm very high on him. But
I think they have bigger needs.
They definitely do.
One of those things where it's you don't need to take him, so you don't take him because you have way more needs than adding another wide receiver. And what you now have is a solid wide receiver room.
Yeah, we have a really solid one.
Yeah. But I like Jalen Hyatt a lot.
Yeah.
When he hit, I think the game that really put him on the map was the Alabama-Tennessee game where he popped off he had 200-something yards. Yep. He showed, and that's a legit secondary to beat. He looked really good. Same with Hendon Hooker. Credit to him. It's a shame he tore his ACL.
I know.
Because I scored low on the S2 test.
But not in 18.
Not in 18. Not in 18. He probably is 46. Fuck. Then he saw 18. He's like,
all right, we're going to have a challenge. We're all just going to not even try.
We're all going to select. We're going to pick a different letter and just select that.
And see if we could beat an 18%.
I'm in for it. My draft crush, we were talking edge. Nolan Smith. And this doesn't mean I want the Bears to take Nolan Smith. I already said what I want the Bears to do. But I think Nolan, through his combine performance, he has shown such raw talent and to be a total freak of nature. The potential is sky high with him.
Yeah.
He just is more of a project than I think teams want in an edge rusher. He's a weird kind of hybrid type where he's got so much speed and athleticism that it's almost a shame to only use him as an edge rusher,
Yeah.
So he's going to I believe he's a guy who's going to kind of find a hard time fitting in on a defense and will probably get too high of expectations put on him wherever he ends up being drafted. But I think he's a candidate who can go top 10 just because of his combine alone.
Yeah.
But absolute freak of nature, seems to have a really good attitude from the interviews I've seen of him. He just seems like a good guy, kind of has his head on straight, knows what he wants to be as an NFL player. And I'm going to be rooting for him. I don't want the Bears to take him unless it's way later in the first round.
Yeah. If you could get him after 20.
Yeah. If you find yourself trading into that space for him, okay, or not for him, but you trade back that far and he's there, I can get behind taking him. And I'd be excited because of his raw athletic ability, but he needs
big project.
He's a project edge rusher because he did not have great sack totals and rushing totals, pass rush totals, not running the ball totals, pass rush totals at Georgia, which that's the big thing is he needs to develop a lot, but I like the potential with him. So he's my draft crush. I will be excited to see how his career plays out. I'll be rooting for him unless he goes to Green Bay, basically.
Yeah, true.
Simple as that.
Which
he can go anywhere else but Green Bay, and I'm going to hope he's good. He goes to Green Bay, I'm going to have to hope he busts.
He's from Georgia, so you never know, man. They drafted to Georgia.
Yeah. Also, Falcons are handing the reins to, speaking of Georgia, sorry. I thought you were implying that they were going to draft, Falcons were going to draft him because of Georgia. My bad. handing the reins to Desmond Ritter. I know we've talked about that, but I'm excited to see that. And he changed his number to number 9.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's going back to his college and high school number. So I'll be
Okay,
following that
yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
Either way, though, Nolan Smith's my guy to watch. But I think that's a great place to wrap up. No question of the week. Nick's not here, guys. So we're sorry about that.
Yep.
But if you like what you heard, please give us a follow on social media. Share with your friends, family who might be interested in hearing us talk different sports. Everything is on our website, garagetalksports.com. All of our social media is our name, Garage Talk Sports. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. We hope you like what you heard, and we will talk to you next week.
See ya.